Hey folks, welcome back to another Polymath video, and today let's check out the new fall Roxanne and Runerigus, right? That's dropping later tonight, which as you will be pulling for live, so make sure y'all are subscribed to tune in for that. And yeah, sorry it's a bit late today, but let's get right into it. So this unit, outside of looking fantastic, right? It's a pretty darn good unit too, right? There are some, well, there's like one obvious downside, but like outside of that, like, yeah, this unit kind of rocks. So, okay, yeah, let's go over some of the upsides first. First of all, it has an amazing AoE tech nuke, right? Not only does it do crazy amounts of damage, AoE, obviously, the striker, EX nuke, that doesn't, there's no split damage, right? It's also really easy to get, right? Straight up. Because like if you look at the multipliers, first of all, this is a tech unit, so it's like tech base with the AoE, striker EX roll, right? Which in my opinion is the better way to do it. So it does have that innate, which is you trap the opponent, which is really easy. You have Sand Tomb up here, right? And then outside of that, your other multipliers are like Sync Power Flux, which it exists, right? And move gauges exist, so you could use that. And slow opponent sync 5, right? Which whenever the opponent's speed is lowered, and that's also really easy to do as well, right? You only need it debuff by like 1, and then you're good basically. So yeah, that part's really nice. It's really easy to get, and it does a lot of damage. Like that's kind of nuts. That is like, first of all, she is the strongest ground type sync nuker in the game, and on top of that, it's not single target, it's like AoE. Right? So that's just nuts over there. Her regular DPS isn't bad either, but it's not like anything crazy. It's more like, like under 1 million. Again, it's not bad, but it's like, it's not anything crazy, but like it doesn't matter that much when your sync move, right? If you could get that to, have that striker EX like AoE thing is just gonna obliterate everything instantly. So, how much does that actually matter? Moving on, you also have a really easy B move activation over here, right? Which is basically just there at least one trap Pokemon on the opponent's field to play, which, by the way, you have, it's an AoE trap, right? It is an AoE trap, again, with Sand Tomb over there, right? You have a passive that, when you use that status change, it does it for the entire opponent's team, right? So yeah, that's really easy to do. I mean, you don't have to have the entire opponent's team to be trapped and able to use your B move. You just need one, but but still, it's nice to have them all. Nice to have them all, right? So, yeah. On top of that, you have a lot of debuff. You got the physical, defense, speed, and attack debuffs and buffs there as well, right? So you debuff those stats, and then you also buff those stats and some other random stats as well, right? Your B move over here, right? Every time you use it, debuffs the opponent's defense speed by 1, and then buffs your team's defense and speed by 1 as well, right? And one other thing I noticed is it seems like this move doesn't have like a gauge requirement, which, if that's real, that's like really good. Right, because of the issues of ground teams with speed, right? And you have X attack all there to buff your team's physical attack, right? You also have this passive team stat flip, right? After using a sync move, any of the opponent's raise stats, right? Like if they had +6 special attack, congratulations, now they have -6 special attack, right? So that's also really nice there as well to have. And yeah, that's cool. Good stuff there, good stuff. Then you have this no stat buff for opponents thing right down here. The first sync move, no stat up on field for the opponents, which is neat. Although I don't think it's like that, but like give them a break, man. You're just constantly debuffing a lot of their stats, like that's, I feel like it's a bit overkill on that, but yeah, that's something as well if you ever need that. As for like any downsides, I guess base speed is a bit of an issue. Like the base speed is not very high, right? I mean that's not even not very. That's pretty slow. But again, you do have some things that could help with it, right? The fact that it seems like the B move doesn't cost any move gauges for one. The team AOE, you know, speed buff. You also have move gauge acceleration as well, right? Yeah, so there's that. Oh, I also forgot to mention she does also buff your team's accuracy as well by 2 with her trainer move there. So yeah, also she is pretty self-sufficient, right? You have X attack all there, max crit, and if you want, you can pick up the NPR, or you go for the Fierce Entry, right? Either on her grid or as a lucky skill, all that stuff, or just have the support max it out, right? You know, quite a few options there. All right, so as for like lucky skills and all that stuff, right? I mean, if again, obviously you want to do damage, crit strike 2, right? And I feel like, you know, damage is kind of like the main thing here. Although you could still go with something like Fierce Entry, so you don't have to pick it up in the grid, right? And not bring support, right? You could do that. You go move gauge refresh, right? Again, you know, it seems like the B move doesn't cost gauges itself, so that would be nice, right? And you know, stuff like that would probably be overall helpful. So yeah, in terms of the grid over here, right? 1 out of 5, not 1 out of 5, 2 out of 5, right? You do don't go for 2 out of 5. It has nothing. Not you like the only thing you do have is like this MP refresh too, I guess, right? Sands of Time if you're running it in like sand, and like dog, you got nothing. You just pick up the B bulldoze power ups. It's yeah, that's kind of it. Poke Trap 2, attack, speed. Wow, that 2 out of 5 is terrible, but 3 out of 5 is great actually. So if you want the full sync, right? Obviously you go down here. So opponent, the sync move power up node, right? Like that's crazy, right? I think that's all, right? In terms of the sync stuff, yeah. And you still got like 17 energy left, right? After picking up all that stuff. So, you know, you could pick up some stuff like Better Prepared 5, right? That's 50%. There's no stat raises, so that's nice. It would go really good with this. Although, you know, can't really pick that. But again, it's not like the worst thing in the world. Because like after you sync every time, right? You take away all their raised stats anyway. So, you know, there's that. If you really just want to go for something where again that hits a bit more consistently, maybe do this. You could also, again, just because really does not cost that much, right? You could even go ahead and pick up like Fierce Entry over here, right? And have this sync move power up node. Again, there's not like too many different things you could really go over here with in terms of the grid. Like the only other like big thing is I guess the attack debuffs if you really need it. Right, like everything else is not that big of a deal, right? It's a pretty straightforward grid. All that being said, right? So, team comp wise, it's gonna be really tough. Again, the gauges situation, right? So like, if you really like running 3 damage healers, I really don't know, man. But you know, if it could theoretically work, right? If the gauges could theoretically work, you could do something like this, right? Where you have you know, Giovanni over here. Setting the ground zone, doing damage like crushing earthquake, all that stuff, right? And you know, Garchomp. In this case, you probably would have to go with like a 2 gauge like slash sort of thing, right? Crit strike 9 slash to make it work. And I suppose you could Garchomp or Roxanne could probably tank over here, right? You know, Garchomp has stuff like sand screen, soothing sand, all that stuff, and you know. Roxanne has stuff like vigilance or whatever. I think their defensive stats are not super far off, right? Yeah. They're tanking stats. Actually, well, no. Garchomp has a lot more HP, so yeah, maybe Garchomp. And just hope you overwhelm the opponent with just like crazy amount of like damage output. But again, in my opinion, it's probably just better just to run like someone for gauges, right? And just like some unit to tank, give you some gauges, right? In this case, you know, maybe Ingo would be nice, right? Or you know, give the bit of the sandstorm stuff there as well. But you know, even outside of that, someone like Morty, right, good gauge unit as well, all that stuff. So yeah, I mean, just mainly just take care of the gauges, and you'll be fine, right? Over here again, you could even run someone like Groudon, right? Master passive, you know, they're both Hoenn units, so you got that going for them. Again, Cynthia, right? A lot of really nice ground type units, like him, or even just like spotlight wise, you'll still have like Courtney, Ground Zone, AoE, you know, Tech Nuke, right? And the stage is over basically. So overall, it's like it's the strongest ground type nuker in the game, right? Again, like the DPS isn't anything crazy, but you do have a lot of really nice. Well, it's not like it's nothing, right? It's like 900k, right? Which is a decent amount, but yeah, you do have a lot of really good ground type damage healers, right? Like DPS units that could obviously help in that department, and then, you know, on top of the fact that especially since most of them are physical, right, having the ability to debuff the opponent's physical defenses, that's also going to help your damage output on that end. And just in most case scenarios, right, just if they're ground weak, just get a sink in and they're gone basically, right? So anyways, overall I'd say it's a really good unit, right? And you know, if you are lacking in that like big ground you know, nuker, this is a really great pickup, right? If you're good in that sense. Although again, there's not a ground type nuker that's really close over here, but yeah, overall I'd say probably like a 8.1 out of 10, right? Units, again, it's just really good for a ground type sync nuker, right? The best in the game by far, right? And again, it got all the other stuff too, right? The attack buffs, the whatever, the debuffs, blah blah, all that stuff, the opponent stat weird thing, right? So anyways, yeah, that's this one, I guess. I hope y'all generally guys think in the comments down below, like, share the video, for some more opponents, comments. See you guys in the next one then.